Hey y'all, it's your girl Mimi and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to show y'all everything y'all need to know about a silk press. Hopefully after this video, you guys will not have any more questions about a silk press, but if you do, please be sure to leave it in the comments and I'm going to be sure to answer their questions. So in this video, the first thing that I am doing is going to be a hot oil treatment and a scalp scrub. So with the hot oil treatment, I do like to separate my client's hair into 4 parts, and then I go and section it section by section, and I scrub their scalp with the oil. Depending on how oily it is, I might have to use like a comb or a separate tool to kind of like lift the flakes. But the idea of the oil is to help moisturize your scalp. And we all produce sebum, which is formed from our sebaceous glands in our scalp, which helps produce the natural oils that we see on our hair. So with the scalp oil treatment, this is going to help balance like the oil on your scalp. So as y'all see, I'm being very diligent about going in section by section, putting a little oil, and then I'm rubbing the scalp. And y'all will also see me placing some oil on the ends of her hair as well, because it also serves as a split end treatment. This is something that you actually want to do before you shampoo their hair, because it's going to even out porosity and balance out everything. So what I'm going to do is, after I apply the oil, I'm going to sit her under the dryer for about 10 to 15 minutes. It just depends on whatever y'all oil that you're using. Make sure it's like a scalp oil treatment. It will tell you if you can do it or not. I'm using Mizani's Nourishing scalp oil, and it also says on there that it's a split end treatment. So y'all will see me put it on there and put it inside this nice plastic cap and have her sitting under the dryer for a little bit. After I do that, I'm gonna go in with my Mizani. It's called Wonder Crown. So I'm going to go in with the Wonder Crown by Mizani, and I'm going to section it back into 4s. Well, y'all see, I'll still go section by section basically. And I'm going to apply the Wonder Crown to her scalp. So this is actually a shampoo that kind of helps lift buildup. It's known as a pre-shampoo, and I like to do this after someone is coming out of twists or braids. In her case, like with the weather being so wishy-washy during the winter transition into the springtime, she wanted to get a scalp treatment to kind of help clear up her scalp, any buildup or anything that could kind of prevent any hair from growing in the follicles. So I'm going to go in, and y'all see that I'm actually going in with the shampoo and I'm scrubbing each section, and as I scrub it, it's actually foaming up. You want to make sure that you leave this on for about 2 minutes, so that way it's going to sit on your client's scalp, lift up any buildup, and then once you get to the sink, you're going to just wet it a little bit. Well, pretty much I like to wet the ends first and then wet the roots, and then I work the shampoo through the ends. This is going to help give you a nice even lather, and it's going to help you clarify the hair as best as you can. Now, I know what you guys are thinking, like, after we just did the hot oil treatment, is this going to prevent anything from working? And your answer is no. The hot oil treatment is specifically, again, to balance out the scalp, and it's going to help you guys lift any flakes. So if your client is suffering from psoriasis or seborrheic dermatitis or anything of that nature, the oil on the scalp is actually going to help lift some of the flakes, as well as doing a scalp treatment. It's going to help lift some of the flakes because you're going in directly section by section to remove the flakes from the scalp. In her case, it was not very bad to the point where I needed to use an additional tool or anything of that nature to lift the flakes, but I did still use my fingers just to rub across the areas in the scalp. So now I'm shampooing her using the Mizani Silk Press line. So the first shampoo was the Wonder Crown, which is a pre-shampoo, and now is the Mizani Wonder Crown. I'm rinsing that out, and then I'm gonna allow her hair to steam for about 20 minutes with the steamer. I'm applying the Mizani moisture mask that they have, and I'm also taking some of the oil that I use for her scalp treatment, and I'm going to put it into the conditioner. So that way it's going to have a balance of moisture and oil, and this is going to help even out her porosity, so when she gets her silk press, her hair is going to be in the best condition it can be in. When I do apply the conditioner, I'm going to start detangling her ends and working my way up to the scalp. So as y'all see, I've applied the conditioner everywhere, and then I'm going to take my shampoo comb and section by section, I'm going to detangle and again work my way up from the ends to the scalp. When you work your way up from the ends to the scalp, it makes it a lot easier to detangle. A lot of people understand that the scalp is where it needs to be detangled the most, but they don't understand in order to get to the scalp, you have to make it through the ends of your hair first. That is the very most important part. So now that she's done steaming, I'm squeezing her hair out and squeezing out any excess moisture. And yes, I've seen it to where people have done silk presses and they keep the shower cap on to keep the moisture retained and stuff. But when you're doing a silk press, you want to keep in mind the object of the game is to actually get the hair dry. Like, you don't want to actually dry the hair out, which is why we apply a leave-in conditioner. However, when it comes to the moisture content, you don't want the hair sopping in water before you do a silk press. Hopefully that makes sense for you guys. So the first thing I'm applying to her scalp is the Mizani Wonder Crown, and this has aloe and a lot of other cooling agents, which are okay to use with your blow dryer or other hot tools. And then after that, I am spraying the Mizani Miracle Milk, which has 25 benefits, and it's a leave-in conditioner. And I will put the products in the description below so you guys can see the 25 benefits that it does. After I apply the leave-in conditioner, I'm using their silk press line. So I'm using their raincoat cream and their raincoat serum. When I'm using both of those, I actually apply the cream first, and I make sure I rub it in. So when you think about putting products in someone's hair, think about when you put lotion on your skin. When you put lotion on your skin, you're rubbing it in until it's completely dissolved. So that's what you want to do with the cream. And then after that, you're going to apply the silk press serum that they have. And you want to use a slightly more cream than you do serum. The key to rubbing it in is so that the products do not build up against each other. Because what tends to happen if you mix them together, it will build up and create like different like little white flakes. And trust me, been there, done that. You don't want to do that. So again, the order that you want to do it is first, if your client is having scalp issues, you can apply the scalp serum. After you apply the scalp serum, you can apply a light mist of the Mizani Miracle leave-in spray with the 25 benefits. After you do that, you can apply the silk press line to the hair. So you want to use slightly more cream than you do serum, and you want to apply it one at a time to avoid the buildup. So hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing here. I'm applying the scalp treatment first and just like rubbing it in, making sure it's all on her scalp and she feels nice and soothed. And then I'm adding the cream, detangling, and then after that I'm going to add the serum. I believe I sprayed the spray on both sections already, so that's why y'all didn't see it in this particular portion of the video. So now I'm beginning to blow dry, and when I blow dry, I am working from her ends up into her roots. So I'm sure you guys kind of see the steam in the background, and whenever you see steam in the background, just know that it is the products that you are using, and that means that it is working. Once I finish blow drying her hair, I do go back in with a smaller Denman brush and I just hit her roots one more time, because often any girl who's getting a silk press, they'll be like, oh, I feel a little cool air at the root, can you just go back in? So as a precaution, I always go back in with my small Denman brush, or I might use my paddle brush. Whatever is available at the time and whatever is sanitary and clean is what I'm going to use. But y'all see her roots. Her roots, there is no puffiness, no curliness at the roots. Y'all want to make sure that the roots is straight. The key to an excellent silk press is having the roots be as straight as they can be. Basically, when the power, or not when, but if the power were to turn off right now while I was doing her silk press, I would want her to be able to walk out with like at least a very sleek blow dry. So hopefully you guys get what I'm saying and y'all can see that her blow dry is straight from roots to ends. If you guys have a towel from when you shampooed, make sure you remove it to avoid any additional moisture getting at her roots. So now, before I silk press, I'm using the Nourishing oil one more time, just a little bit, all over her hair right before I flat iron. The reason that I'm using the Nourishing oil is to add shine. A lot of people think if they just use oil on their hair, it's going to add moisture and it's going to do all these different things. But honestly, if you put oil on the hair by itself, it actually clogs up your cuticles. Again, I use the oil after I blow dry just to add a little shine when I actually press out the hair. So when I'm pressing out the hair, as y'all can see, I'm going in with my big flat iron, and then I go in against the edges with my very small flat iron to make sure that I'm really getting to the roots and getting to the baby hairs on the side. So please be diligent when you guys use y'all small flat iron. Most of the time, small flat irons only go up to 450 degrees. So you want to be sure that you are not burning your client and you're doing quick, swift motions to allow the hair to get straight and you're not actually burning the client. So now y'all are going to see me go in section by section, starting in the back and just silk pressing her hair from the roots to the ends. And again, like I said, I go section by section. Depending on the client, I might start on the front or I might start in the back. It just depends on the direction I have the client in. When you guys are flat ironing, you want to be sure that you are going from their root of their hair down all the way to the ends, and you're actually compressing your flat iron together, because sometimes people will flat iron hair, but they might not make sure that it is being evenly heated and distributed throughout that strand. When I am flat ironing, I do use the chase method. So that means I use the flat iron and then I have the comb in front of the flat iron. So that way it continues to detangle and make sure the roots are getting as straight as possible. So as I get closer to the top for the flat iron, I'm just making sure I'm being very diligent with my sections. I'm making sure that I'm using maybe about 1/4 inch of a section, which is about the size of a pencil. It might be like a little slightly more because I'm a professional, so I'm just used to it. But overall, you want to make sure your section is about the size of a pencil or smaller if you want consistent silk press results, especially once you get to the edges. So I'm actually silk pressing my client pretty straight right now because I am going to trim her hair. So as y'all see, I'm going back in, making sure every little piece of her hair is straight. With these products, I only have to do about 1 to 2 passes on each hair strand. But what I really like is that when I go back to wet my client's hair, it reverts all the way back. So that is my favorite thing about using Mizani products. So now I'm in the front of her head. Well, I was just on the front of her head, but I'm on the last section of her head. And as y'all see, I'm just going in, making sure her roots are completely straight, I'm using my flat iron to get the best possible results. After this, you'll see me trim like just a slight section. I'm not going to do the full trim on here because that's not what this is about. But I am going to trim her ends and you guys will see it. Alright, so now I'm about to add some waves into her hair. I'm just cleaning up the trim a little bit. When I go in to add the waves to her hair, I'm going to be curling away from her face. So what that means is where her natural part is, I'm going to curl going towards the back, and that's how you achieve a more wavy look. She was requesting waves this time. Usually we do like more so like a curl, but with the waves you're kind of taking the hair as if it's like a ribbon and you're taking scissors and grinding it across the ribbon to create that curl. That's exactly what I'm doing with her hair. So as y'all see, I'm going in different directions depending on where I'm at within her hair. And when you do this, you just want to make sure, again, that you're using a little bit bigger sections because you don't necessarily want to go back in and flat iron everything twice. You just want to make sure everything is good. So as you continue to section, you're going to go up a space and go up another space until you reach the top. And any little pieces that I see, I just go grab those small pieces and curl it away from the face. As you get towards the end, you're gonna begin to put like your wax stick on those little flyaways in the front, and then you're gonna add a little bit of shine spray just so that way they can have a very polished look when they leave. They can smell nice and fresh like they just came from the salon, and more than likely your clients are going to love the outcome. So I hope you guys genuinely enjoyed this video, and hopefully this is the only video you'll ever need to complete a silk press. So sorry if y'all hear raindrops in the background. I am recording in my car, but thank you guys for watching. I love and appreciate it.